Yeah, so a lot of people had no idea that your receipt paper actually gives you a pretty big dose of BPA, and it can be really serious actually if you work as a cashier. That's why there's been legislation on this in Europe, and California actually has one going into effect just next month. I'm going to tell you what the deal is with toxic chemicals in your receipt paper and what you can do about it. You've probably heard of BPA, or you've probably seen it on like the outside of a can or something where it says BPA free. So bisphenol A, that's its full name. It is one out of a class of chemicals. They're all known as bisphenols, right? And it used to be that we thought one chemical was really bad. The other ones within that class are probably fine. But now we are finding that is definitely not true. You can absorb it through your skin too. And in fact, many studies going back now 10 years, they found that cashiers that handled receipts on a daily basis had far higher levels of BPA in their bodies. And they would even measure them after their shifts, right, at work to ensure that like this was their exposure source. And sure enough, they had far higher levels of BPA after their shift at work when they're handling physical receipt papers. A lot of companies now say that they use BPA-free things, right? However, all they do is they just replace BPA with one of the other bisphenols, either bisphenol S or BPF or badge. This recent study found that bisphenol S was about 250 times higher because your bodies metabolize it differently and metabolize it slower. BPS was about 250 times higher, right? Just stronger, more potent in the body versus BPA, right? Just as a quick reminder, bisphenol A is linked to breast cancer, ovarian cancer, testicular cancer, lots of hormonal issues, okay? Thyroid disruption, which means increased risk of obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, a suppressed immune response. Basically, just it messes up the hormones in your body, so they control a lot of how you metabolize things, right? Which is why they're linked to cardiovascular disease and like obesity and stuff, okay? Europe banned BPA from all thermal receipt paper. However, all retailers did was they just replaced BPA with BPS. And it turns out BPS is actually worse for you. So they found that BPS does not absorb as quickly into the skin, but once it does get into your skin, it actually stays in your body longer. And what I just find really interesting is like with the recent news that the Apple Watch Sports Band has PFAS, another super bad chemical associated with plastic, probably like the number one comment I've gotten is people saying like, oh, well, good thing I'm not eating it. Nothing gets absorbed through your skin. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We've had studies going back years, right? We've always absorbed things through our skin, certain places more than others, and certainly some things get absorbed more than others, but that has always been the case. And so they found that dermal absorption of bisphenol A resulted in longer systemic circulation than dietary exposures, meaning that when they absorbed something through their skin, they actually kept it in their body longer than if they had actually eaten it. California passed a law that will go into effect literally this January, and it says that you can't have any receipt paper with intentionally added BPA, and then starting next year, it's all bisphenols. So super easy thing is like, don't get a receipt. Don't get a receipt. And if you do get a receipt, just put the printed side down and just touch the back where there's no actual printing. That part is totally fine, but get an e-receipt, save a tree, right?